How are you doing after your own break?
It doesn't feel like a break now. I've been back for 4 days. So no, good. Yeah, good. It's important, that everyone gets time away, and we sort of set a plan early in the year around what our days in and days out look like. We train hard, we work hard, and it's important that we all take some time away. When you're away, you're away from the club, but there's still bits and pieces always to do. Probably a little bit more than that at times, but for the players, we wanted them mentally to switch off, but physically they had to do what they needed to do. But it was mainly a mental sort of break for everyone.
Yeah, judging by the players' Instagrams, a few of them have taken the opportunity to go away somewhere exotic. How are they looking physically after coming back?
Yeah, no, they're good. They had their testing and skin folding and that type of thing. So most of them were under, a couple around that same level. So, yeah, no concerns from that perspective. As I said, they had a program that they needed to fulfil, and it was a program based on doing what they needed to do, but certainly freshening them up for the back end of the year.
How are you looking on the injury front after the break as well?
Yeah, we're good. Ollie Gildart's probably still not there. He tried to train this week, and we don't think he'll be right for this week. So he's the only sort of setback at the moment. It just didn't feel right, sort of laterally when he was doing certain things this week. So we're gonna be smart there and hold off, and hopefully he's ready for next week.
But the other two, Matt Parcell and Jai Whitbread, are both okay for the weekend?
Yeah, they'll be both eligible for selection this weekend.
And just one other injury that you had, James Batchelor. How's he been after having surgery on that ankle ligament injury?
Yeah, good. It was a successful surgery. So, we're hoping, I don't want to put a time frame on it, but he'll be 3-4 weeks, possibly get to come back. But with someone like Batch, there's no doubt he'll be back sooner than most. He's just a guy that just puts everything into his rehab. He puts everything into his game. He's professional. So he'll certainly be sort of the lower end in terms of how long he's out for because of the work that he puts in. He's already itching to get back.
One other player who wasn't involved at CAS was Joe Burgess. You spoke afterwards about, having some cohesion in defence and not wanting to interfere with that. What do you want to see from Joe moving forward in order for him to get his place back in the side?
Yeah, look, I think where we're at as a group, and this is what we've wanted to create, and we're in a position at the moment, which is great, where we've got good players, experienced players fighting for positions, which unfortunately players are going to miss out. So, we've got that in the middle. We've certainly got that on the edge. With Joe, He's been training well. He's waiting for his opportunity, and just as I say, like we've got some outside backs there that are putting pressure on each other to play. And we can only have 2 centres and 2 wingers. We've got a good 5, 6, 7 guys to choose from. So we're in a strong position at the moment in that sense. So it's just about form and who we think's probably best to play a certain team. We'll look at that as well.
A couple of your players that didn't get a break, but for good reasons, Elliot Minchella and Mikey Lewis. In terms of the former, how proud are you to see him get his England debut? Yeah,
really proud of Minnie. He's been exceptional for us. He's our captain, he's our leader, and it seems like he's been doing that job for a number of years now. He's the turnaround, what I saw in Minnie, and I know people have probably seen it for many years, but when I first came to the club, Minnie and I had some good conversations, and as you want any player to do, you want him to take it the right way, and he certainly did that. And he each week he's first picked in our team because of the way that he leads through his actions, with his actions, what he's like around the dressing room. He's got a really good personality. He's full of energy, and he just gets the job done. So he did that on the weekend, and I'm sure the England fans and coaching staff would have been proud of him, and he certainly didn't look out of position playing in that 13 jersey.
And how much would you say Elliot's journey to his England debut, from dropping out of Super League and then making that step back up with Hull Kingston Rovers, is a shining example to other young players who are having to contemplate whether they need to drop down to the Championship to get more game time?
Yeah, I think Minnie's a perfect example, as I said, like just with my experience with him, but obviously the one that you're talking about, that he handles things the right way. There's a lot of players that, because you're part of a squad, they see themselves as a Super League player, but that's not necessarily true. You need to then go and be the best reserve grade player, or be a very, very good reserve grade player, and then a very, very good championship player, and then you progress to Super League. That's how development works for me, and Elliot's a perfect example of that. So he's had to go to the championship, and I rate the championship. I think it's a really tough competition, and you've got players in that competition that certainly can play Super League, but they choose not to because financially it's not viable for them. They're getting better money working and then playing in the championship. So, Minnie's taken that step and proved himself as a championship player, and then made his way to Hull KR and now he's our captain. So it's a really good story. Minnie's a strong person, strong character. He's had a background like we all have, where you want to learn from and you want to get better and improve, and he's certainly done that. And I'm extremely proud of him for the person that he is. He's got a great family, young family. He's a great dad, and he's a great captain.
You've spoken about how well Elliot did. What did you make of Mikey Lewis and his role?
Yeah, mate, I knew Mikey that role would suit him. Previously, I've looked at that, thought of that role for him, but to be honest, he just kept playing well. There was a period there that we're going to move him to the bench and look at that role, and then he got his opportunity again, and then he took it with both hands. This is a while ago, but Mikey's I call it a footy player. He's a rugby player. He can play hooker. He can play 6. He can play 7. He can play 1. Give him the ball and he's going to be a danger. And I think when Mikey, he likes to get out of dummy half and run, and when you're playing at hooker, the decision's made for you a lot, isn't it? Because of the speed of the play of the ball. And Mikey knew when to go, and he went at the right times. And the defence and the French defence started fatiguing, and it was a perfect time to put Mikey on. And you could see that he sped the game up. He was looking to kick for touch quickly, and he was out of dummy half when he needed to be. So it's a role that definitely suited him, and certainly would suit him going forward in the England team. But certainly, you can put him in the 6 or 7, and he'd do his country proud as well.
One other player who didn't unfortunately make the final cut for the 19-man squad was Jez Litton. How's he handled that since?
Jez is fine. Jez actually got sick in camp, so he didn't end up going to France. So it was unfortunate for Jez. He was ill, so he just wanted to be around the team. Obviously, if he was in or out, it was still a great achievement for Jez and to be part of that squad. But he was obviously disappointed not to be able to go to France, and even if he wasn't playing, to support the team and just be part of it, because we've got a passionate group here and who want to play for England. And Jez is, on the top of that list that has had the chance to play for his country, and he wants more of it.
Just finally on the game itself between England and France, a lot's been spoken about the low attendance, not being shown on TV, etc. What do you think needs to be done to improve the state of international rugby league in the Northern Hemisphere?
Oh, look, it's not my forte, and I'll leave it to the people above. But I've heard some, calls around it was embarrassing and the lower end and all that sort of stuff. And to be honest, I totally agree. I think, as a coach, I want my players playing international rugby. I'd never want to hold a player back from playing for their country for so many different reasons. And most of all, it should be the highest honour. And just watching that game and seeing the build-up, and I'm not talking about internally what England did or France did, but just the build-up to it, to them not being on TV, to different things that I saw pre-game, and then obviously their crowds. It just someone would use the word embarrassing, and it was an embarrassment to the level that it should be at. It was disappointing, because as I said, I would never want to not let my players play for their country, but certainly some coaches now would be looking at going, well, why would we, let our players go there, and the injury risk and all that sort of stuff if they're not, if people aren't going to fully buy into what it's all about. For me, that game should have been shown on TV. Why wouldn't we want to show an international game to a new audience or to the audience that love the game already? I was looking around asking people, how do you find it? Where's the link and how do we watch it? Which is crazy. It's an international game, so it needs to be treated that way. There's some good players on that field, on both teams, like world-class players, in the French team as well, like guys like Arte Morg and players like that. And then the players that England had, you got your Wellsbys and George Williams, and crazy to think that we're not going to want to get that product out to the wider audience, and also to the people that love the game. So, yeah, disappointing was probably the word that I'd use.
Going back to your side then, resuming the Super League season, 12 regular games to go. What kind of place do you feel your side is in heading into this final stretch?
Yeah, it's a really tight competition. There's no doubt about that. So, we're in a decent spot at the moment, but, for us, it's what we do now for the back end of the season. We've had a good freshen up. I think we needed that. We planned for that, and it was all deliberate. So now it's about going out and this back end of the year for us is all around what we do and the choices we make daily. For us, where we've got to the position that we've got in now was through a hard pre-season. It was through what we've done previously, but going forward, where we want to end up is going to be about what we do day to day, the decisions that we make as individuals, the decisions we make collectively. So I'm looking forward to what's ahead for the players, and they should be excited about it.
You speak about your group needing the break in terms of having a reset and a refresh. Did it also come at the right time in respect of the display at CAS beforehand?
Yeah, I mean, we played against a team over there that we knew it was going to be a difficult game. I mean, you have a look at the game that they play, Wigan. Wigan were lucky, we got out of that, and similar to what we did against CAS as well. So I'm not looking at CAS because we won by 1 point and going, it was an awful performance, because we've got to give some credit to CAS. I thought once they got a sniff, they played well. Their defence was strong. Their hearts combined, probably the best I've seen for a long time. But looking at us, that wasn't a performance that we're overly pleased with. There's no doubt about that. But what we're pleased about is finding a way to win away. People have sort of said about that we don't win games away, and people refer mainly to the bigger teams. But for us to go and scrap a game and win against CAS is a step in the right direction. But when you talk about the break, yeah, I think it was a much needed break, because we've played Challenge Cups. We had 1 week off for the Challenge Cup final, but we still trained hard that week, because we hadn't planned to be off that week. We deliberately planned to be off the week that we had that we gave the players some time off, sort of regardless of where we're at. So everything's done for a reason, what we do. So for us, it was a break that was needed, but it certainly made us, hungry and fresh for the back end of the year.
In terms of your opponents, Catalans, it's your first meeting since the defeat there in April. Given your form since then, how much do you feel the display in that defeat has helped to set the standards moving forward for your team? Yeah,
well, bitterly disappointed with that performance over there. We're not going to shy away from that. We own that. We went over there, and it was a performance that we certainly weren't proud of. We didn't start well, and were well beaten before half time. So we're certainly looking to change that this week. We know what's in front of us. We know they're a good team. We know they're a big team. We know how they play. But again, we'll focus on us. We're back at home, and really looking forward to our home fans getting behind us again. There's no better place to play for us than back at Craven Park. So looking forward to being KR again at home, and showing that through our actions, not so much what we say.
Catalans' form since that game in April hasn't been the best. Why do you think they've been a bit off colour since then?
Oh, look, I think every team goes through patches where they play well and they're not playing as well. They've obviously had halves that have turned over a little bit through selection or through injury. But I think they'll start to get some cohesion now with what they think their best team is. So they've got a really good squad and a strong squad. So certainly not looking at past form. It's again, we always look at us and controlling what what we're strong at and what we want to achieve. We've obviously done a preview on Catalans this week, but again, it's around what we can do.
Just finally from me, Willie, not much that can be done about this, but how are you feeling about going up against the England game at the Euros?
Say again, sorry. The England game.
Yeah, how are you feeling about going up against that in the football?
Oh, we'll get more numbers than them, surely. Surely. Rugby league. Look, it is what it is. It's above me. So decisions have been made, but it'd be nice. Yeah, I mean, we'll still get 9,000 plus here. We know the support that we'll have. We know our fans are loyal and they love coming and watch their team play. So we'll certainly have that here, and hopefully we get that on online as well, or through the TV. But hopefully England get a result, and hopefully we get a result.
Lovely. Thanks for your time.
Cheers.
Hi Willie, how you doing?
Good, mate. You?
Yeah, not bad. I'm glad you're playing at the same time as England, because it means I don't have to watch them. Can't watch more of that nonsense. A quick one from me, and it was inevitable that it would get brought up. Jordan Abdull making his Craven Park return if selected. Just your initial thoughts on coming up against Jordan. You are fully aware of his strengths, his threats, of course, some of his weaknesses as well. What are your thoughts on coming up against him?
Yeah, like you say, man, we know Jordan's strengths. We know what he brings to a team. Obviously, world-class kicking game, and he's a smart player, Jordan. He's obviously gone to Catalans now. He's got his future sorted, and I'm really happy for him in that sense. The key for Jordan is to be happy, both on and off the field, and I think he's made some decisions around his future to help with that. So, Jordan's a good person. Obviously not part of our squad anymore, and certainly we'll look to hopefully get one up on him this weekend, and like he's doing to us. But apart from this game, I think Jordan, we know his strengths, as I say, and we know what he's capable of.
It was a big call at the time to let him move on. Likewise for Jordan, it was a big move for him to make the decision to go to Catalans. Do you think, in hindsight, it's wonderful, do you think that's been the right call for all involved, that decision was made? Yeah,
definitely. It was a decision that, essentially I asked Jordan at the time, and then he felt, there was an answer for me that I thought, okay, well, it's probably the best time now for Jordan to look elsewhere and just see what other opportunities are there. And he came to me with the Catalans option, and then, we agreed it was probably the best option at the time, and I think it certainly has been the right one for him. I think, he's got away. He needed to get away at the time, and he now he knows that it's probably the right time to come back. So he's made the decision to come back, and it's not with us. But as I said, the main thing for us, or for me, is making sure that he's happy. But we're playing him this weekend, so we need to make his night hard as well.
Some added spice, of course, the fact that when he does come back, he's playing for the other team on the other side of the city, which the fans, I'm sure, will be keen to make him aware of, as they done with Zach Hardacre not too long ago. It sort of just adds to the occasion, doesn't it? A bit of entertainment. He might even be a bit of a pantomime villain, but I suppose that's something that is just part of rugby league, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a respect there for the player, and there's no doubt about that. But of course, I'm sure he'll receive some sort of reception because he's going to the other side. And it's not so much aimed personally at Jordan, I'm sure, but it's like us. We want to go out. Jordan's going to come here to try and win a football game. We want to play against Catalans, and our aim's to win as well. And our fans are going to do everything they can to help us win that game. So that's what they'll do to try and help us.
Lovely. Cheers, Willie.
Cheers, mate.
Hi, Willie. You all right?
All right, Gaz, you, mate?
Yeah, good, thank you. Just a couple on Mikey hooker for England. You said you had the idea of it in the past. Have you ever run it past him before, that suggestion?
Not so much playing hooker, mate. There was a period that we're gonna play him off the bench to come on and just play free. It was obviously early 20s. It was last year at a stage. He was aware that we were looking to do the role. He obviously doesn't want to do that long term, But there's no doubt in an international stage that role suits Mikey. You know, he wants to be part of that 17 wherever it is, and that role certainly suits Mikey. I mean, just say something happened to Jack Wellesby, Mikey could slip into fullback. If the halves weren't performing, or you know something happened to those guys, he'd slip into the halves, which we know that's where he likes to play. And like on the weekend, you know, there's an opportunity to change momentum of a game and change the flow of a game by putting him at hooker. So that's what England did. But no, we weren't looking to actually, you know, play him hooker as such. It was more just a role to come on, get his confidence back, you know, by just taking some pressure off him. But as I said, he ended up, you know, making the decision for us by putting in some really strong performances.
Has seeing excel at hooker given you an idea for future weeks over the course of the season, maybe?
No, Mikey's our 6. Mikey's our 5'8", so that's where we look at having Mikey. I mean, you can never predict the future, and as I say, I know Mikey can play that and do that role. But he's our Tyrone and Mike are our 6 and 7, and that's what we're planning to keep.
It's been a bit unfortunate playing 6 regularly because he's up against the England captain, is he, in that level? So. But like you say, his versatility sort of helps him get in somewhere, doesn't it? And he excels in any position, doesn't he?
Mate, I think, and I said this to him last year, I think Mike can be an outstanding fullback. You know, he played for us. He had one game against St Helens that every fullback has, or when they're starting their journey at fullback. You know, I remember Billy Slater, the greats, the best of the games that they've all had those games. Darren Lockyer, I remember in. I think it was against New Zealand. It was a test match. You know, they all those great players have moments early in their career when they're playing fullback. Mikey had one against St Helens, but obviously, you know, seeing probably Jack Wellesby in front of him as well, he probably thought, well, there's no pathway to get in the England team. But then he went back to 6 and he played extremely well. So, you know, I'd have no problem whatsoever putting Mikey at 1 if we needed to as well. So for me, you know, he's a 6-7 and he's a 1 who can play hooker as well.
I mean, just last night, I mean, hooker's sort of a role where your natural rugby league instincts perhaps show more than any, I guess, because you're just simply on the ball more.
Yeah, you are. You're touching the ball more than anyone. I think the decision's made for you. You know, we all know Mikey is not your sort of game manager. He's getting a lot better with his game manager, but he's not a structured half. You know, he needs to play and what's in front of him and run the ball regularly. So he gets an opportunity. That's why, again, I go back to fullback. You get your hands on the ball majority of the time at hooker and at fullback. So the more times that Mikey's touching the ball, the better your attack's going to be. So as I say, like he's our half going forward, but he can certainly play other positions, which he's proved.
So the word from you is, you've done really well at hooker, but don't be getting any ideas for the future.
Yeah, no. Well, I think after he made a few tackles there, he probably realised I want to go back out on the edge. So I think the decision was made for me.
Yeah. And just one last lot on the game itself. I mean, there's a lot made about Jordan Adams, but the other way, Tyrone playing his former club as well. I mean, are you sort of impressed at how he's adapted his game to a different club and everything? Different club, different culture, different country.
Yeah, I am. You know, we bought Tyrone for that reason, but what I'm pleased about with Tyrone is that, you know, he's come over here, and I think, you know, a lot of you know, media and experts were talking around our attack at the start of the year, and having 2 halves that we didn't have a game manager, and they were very similar, and they're both runners, and they both had, you know, Jordan, Abdull or Mitchell Pearce as their halves who were managing most of the game, doing majority of the kicking, and that was sort of just playing off the back of that. So we knew that when Tyrone come over, but what we had to do was work out, okay, who's going to be our number 1 in terms of on the ball half, or, you know, game management type half. Now, Mikey's taken a lead with our kicking game, and he's certainly grown in that area. And Tyrone's taken a lead in just getting us around the field and being an on the ball type half. So I'm pleased and proud the way he's adapted to that and owned that. And just as equally, I'm proud the way that Mick's getting a lot better with his game management, but especially his kicking game. You know, he's had some games. There's still a lot of improvement, and he knows that, but there's some games there that he's put a lot of pressure on opposition teams through his kicking game, and Tyrone's put a lot of pressure on defensive teams, through being on the ball and his decision making with the ball and his game management.
Cheers, Willie. Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Cheers, guys.